At Mansfield Oil, we have been reliably partnering in retail for over 50 years. We are trusted by convenience store operators to help them attract more customers, streamline operations, and lower their costs, both inside the store and at the pump. By offering preferred vendor programs, optimizing fuel systems, and offering substantial discounts on inventory, we help you enhance the profitability of all your retail locations. Mansfield Oil, the next generation oil company, delivering local service nationwide.
Biodiesel. It can be made from crops like soy or recycled material like fryer grease. But however it's made, it has the same problems as other sources of renewable energy, quality and distribution. Now, a major oil services company says it has solved both of those problems and can deliver biodiesel in 25 states with guarantees customers need about quality. Margaret Ryan has that story. Margaret.
Thanks, Susan. Mansfield Oil is a $5.1 billion fuel logistics company. They're based in Gainesville, Georgia. It supplies commercial and municipal fleets and convenience store fuel pumps. And until recently, all that fuel was petroleum-based. But now, more customers are exploring renewable fuels like biodiesel. Doug Howe, Executive Vice President of Mansfield Oil, told us building a biodiesel supply chain has been a unique challenge.
We work directly with the production plants, which, biorefineries, which is maybe a stretch for many of these facilities. I mean, they range from, large industrial complexes that have invested, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in large production capacity. But what we're finding is that the plants that seem to be, have the staying power, fundamentally better economics, are actually the plants that are more local. And because they're leveraging local feedstocks, so their transportation cost to get those feedstocks into their plant is less. And obviously that's a much more sustainable model for them as well.
Mansfield found it could service small biodiesel manufacturers by doing the actual diesel blending and taking care of EPA paperwork.
We're the ultimate blender, which is interesting in several respects. That requires a different regulatory environment. We have to track RINs, or renewable numbers, which are now trading separately from the biofuels themselves. And there's been actually a great value-added service role for us in that respect, that a lot of these small producers didn't want to deal with that part of the regulatory requirement from the EPA. Didn't want to invest in the administrative and accounting and tracking systems, which could be substantial for a small plant, producing 2 or 3 million gallons a year. Where we can take that burden off them as the ultimate blender, file those RINs, sell those into the market back to the refiners who are obligated to purchase them under the fuel mandate.
But with a new industry and many small and local biorefiners, ensuring reliability can be a challenge. And once customers are signed on for a certain quality of biodiesel, Mansfield has to keep the product coming.
We've seen a lot of plants kind of get in and out, or they'll produce this month and not produce next month. What we're trying to do fundamentally is find the good local producers that have the right local relationships on the feedstock side. In other words, they've got, if they're producing from recycled feedstocks, do they have a relationship with one of the major restaurant chains like McDonald's? We're working with a firm that has a collection agreement with them on a national basis. So we believe in their ability long-term to set up sustainable plants that are going to be viable month in and month out.
Customers range from those who demand virgin feedstocks like soy to those who demand just the opposite.
We have a great customer in San Francisco who their specification was they wanted only biodiesel produced from recycled material. The recycled material had to be locally collected within a 100-mile radius of the city and locally produced. And we found a supplier that could do that.
Hughes said biodiesel, unlike ethanol, has very little fuel penalty. Its heat value is nearly the same as gasoline, so mileage is similar. But cost varies greatly with the feedstock. Last summer, when oil was costly, so was soy, and soy biodiesel was 25 to 50 cents a gallon more than regular diesel. But Howe says biorefiners can shop around for feedstocks The challenge is to get the diverse feedstocks into a reliable distribution system. Susan?
Margaret, can any diesel engine use biofuels?
Yeah, according to Howe, yes, they can, and so far he says they're working well. The issue is maintaining the quality of the biorefinery runs, ensuring that certain standards are met, and that's where Mansfield has had to put a lot of effort. I mean, the issue for commercial fleet customers is making sure they don't take a fuel that voids their engine warranties. That could be very costly for the customer. So a supplier like Mansfield has to be able to guarantee the quality of the fuel. There are new American Society for Testing and Materials, ASTM standards for biofuels. And you know, as soon as those get accepted and they get met, then the issue kind of goes away. It's like gasoline. You don't pull up to the pump and ask what refinery it came out of. You know, you depend on certain standards being met. It builds consumer confidence. And for retail use, they are now test marketing it through convenience store chains to try to see what the consumer acceptance of this is. Mansfield serves over 600 of these convenience store pumps that you see out there. One thing, you know, that we do know, that since the BTU is nearly the same as conventional gasoline, you don't have a penalty like you do with ethanol, where you get 10 to 20% worse, less BTU, and so you get worse mileage.
Okay. So has it been tough to meet the standards?
Well, he said that they have had really just, you know, a few specific problems. It's mostly getting these small biorefiners to make sure that they're maintaining certain quality standards. You know, he said there was one specific problem last year in the Midwest, for instance. He did not name the biorefiner, but he said they learned a lot about where they'd missed the boat because they missed the quality problems. And, you know, they have refined their quality assurance problem to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And as you heard him say, he's meeting all sorts of customer needs, you know, about different feedstocks. You can, theoretically anyway, use any oil or fat as your basis for a biofuel. If you're recycling, you have to go through a step of, say, cleaning it up and purifying it. You can't just take it from the deep fat fryer and dump it into the refinery. But, you know, he described this basically as an industry starting up. He said, of course, it's going through diesel pains. I'm sorry, diesel pains, through teething pains, sorry. But he says, you know, the key is to keep the producers engaged and to work on building up this industry.
Right. Okay. Margaret Ryan, thank you.
At a time when the economy continues to be very, very uncertain. So let's get back to Sharon at the NYMEX, where it's, what, 2004 all over again?
Yeah, absolutely right. We are looking at oil prices we haven't seen since that time, and we're looking at prices, though, that have bounced a little bit off of the overnight lows. We're above $46 a barrel, but still $100 below that all-time high we hit in July. The real story is demand, and the real place to look at that is gasoline. Gasoline futures fell below $1 a gallon overnight. And we talked to a number of leading oil executives last night at the Platts Energy Awards, one of them a major fuel wholesaler, saying he doesn't see demand coming back right now.
Frankly, we haven't seen it yet, but you know, our industry is also very seasonal in nature, and you know, the winter months have lower demand months than the summer months.
Until we see that stabilization of demand, a lot of the executives we talked to said oil prices, energy prices, likely to continue to fall. Rick Santelli, over to you in Chicago.
Well, by now,